All right. So, I mean, we just talked about it. 256 now needs a main event. And even they were saying 255 might need a new main event because of Cody Garbrandt falling out of that fight. They're saying David Figueiredo versus Alex Perez is not a main event worthy fight for a pay-per-view. And I get that. If we're spending $65 of our hard-earned money and we're already paying $5 a month for ESPN Plus, it's got to be worth it.
It does.
It really has to be. So, who's going to fill in for these cards? So many things. I think we need to start with this one right now. Yeah. Israel Adesanya versus John Jones. Did I hit you with a curveball there?
Yeah, you did, but that's okay because I'm real excited to talk about this too. I think right now, and let me tell you, I'll start by saying this. This fight is not happening this year. Clear cut, end of discussion, period, not going to happen. However, I think it is the perfect time for this fight to happen right now in the UFC. I'll tell you why. Light heavyweight championship of the world, John Jones just vacated his belt. We just got a new champ, Juan Blachowicz. Shout out to that man. Gets the job done against Dominic Reyes, okay? Boom, we're done. John is no longer a title holder. Israel Adesanya, middleweight champion of the world, okay? Well, if Izzy, I'll tell you right now, and you know this just as much as any other UFC fan, John Jones is not cutting to 185, obviously. Yeah. So the fight would be up at 205, maybe a 210 at a catch weight. It's the perfect time because both these fighters have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Absolutely, other than the zero.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly, because they're both undefeated fighters, and John Jones is undefeated. I don't care what anyone says, love him or hate him. The Matt Hamill thing. I mean, come on, guys, let's be realistic. He was dominating that fight. He is undisputedly undefeated, and I don't know why they haven't taken that off his record yet. It's kind of
it needs to at least be a no contest or I don't know.
Yeah, it's stupid. It needs to be overturned. But nonetheless, you're right. The only thing that they have to give up is the fact that one of them will no longer be undefeated. But that's so small. I mean, Izzy could literally just go right back down to middleweight and go, well, I'm a middleweight. Yeah. I'm a middleweight. Yeah, I lost to a guy 45 pounds heavier
and he's the GOAT,
me.
Okay? I'm sorry. I lost to the greatest fighter of ever.
Right, and you don't take anything away from Israel Adesanya's career. Nothing at all. For John Jones, he goes out there and he loses to a guy like Izzy. I mean, yeah, that sucks, but he's not losing a belt.
Yeah, he goes right back up to heavyweight. Here's the deal.
Yeah, he goes to heavyweight.
Like you were saying, this is the time to make this fight because it's probably the only time it can be made now. Yep. John Jones is moving up to heavyweight. He's trying to bulk up. He's putting on all that weight. He's lifting weights. If he gets to a 240 jacked, it's going to be very difficult for him to cut back down to 205. So now is the time to do it before he gets too big. This is it, guys. This might be the only time. The UFC just needs to open up their fucking checkbooks because, I mean, the numbers came out. This last 253 card did, I think, 700,000 pay-per-view buys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's John really Jones' numbers.
It is.
That's John Jones' numbers. You combine the John Jones and Israel Adesanya numbers, dude, they're doing 1 million pay-per-view buys for that card. It doesn't matter who the fuck is the co-main. The co-main, you could do Figueiredo, Perez, and then Valentina underneath them. Like, that's a main event fight. That's the fight to make, guys. Do that in November, and then December, then you could do Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier.
Which is what we need to talk about next, but we'll finish up here on the Izzy John Jones. That's what we got to do. That's what we would love to see as UFC fans, is this fight take place. Because, again, like, you're not going to take anything away from either one of these guys' career, especially in a catchweight fight. It doesn't really mean anything. It could almost even be an expedition. It's just a fight everyone wants to see. And here's the thing. If you're following this shit talk back and forth on Twitter, it has gotten to such a negative, festering, terrible point that these two have to fight each other. You don't get the permission. You are not allowed to say the things to each other that these two are saying and then not fight.
Yes.
It's egregious. It's stupid. Everyone wants to see it because if you're saying this much venom behind everything you're saying, these two need to get in an octagon and they need to settle the score.
Yes.
Period. End of discussion.
Yes, and it's building the fight. It's making this bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, we talked about it just a few weeks ago. Was Israel going too far with the Paulo Costa humping stuff? And that seems like that's like fucking apples to acorns now. I mean, you could compare. I mean, people are freaking out kind of over what Israel Adesanya said about John Jones's mother.
Yeah, and deceased mother. Let's keep that in mind too.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't call her a whore. He didn't call her a bitch. He didn't negatively impact her. But I guess he kind of dug at John by saying she would be disappointed in the man you've become.
Yeah, I think you're getting into murky waters. I think family should be off limits. But then again, who the fuck am I to say that? Because I'm not a fighter. I'm not getting in that octagon. I literally sit behind a desk, eat some Cheetos, and talk about fights. So shut the fuck up, at the same time. Yeah. These two are going in and literally sacrificing like a part of their lives to go in there and beat the shit out of each other and trying to literally take each other's heads off. So at the same time, like, who am I to say what's off limits? I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
Do I think it's necessarily right or morally acceptable? No, but I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to watch this fight. It doesn't mean I'm not going to tune out.
I'm still going to pay for it for sure.
Right.
And I still love Israel.
Thing. Exactly. And that's the thing with this day and age and with this media and everything. Like, people get so outraged about this or that, but then you tune into it. So you're you're quote unquote part of the fucking problem, right? You're part of the problem either way because your eyeballs are on it. But again, it brings eyeballs, it brings attention. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is Izzy is kind of building his brand, and he's doing everything Jon Jones wishes he would have done in his career. And that's why it just irritates Jon to no end, because Izzy is the one guy that can actually spit game back at him, who can actually spit insults back at him, because Jon Jones has always been that guy on the attack, Yeah. I mean, when Dominic Reyes loses, he tweets at Dominic Reyes and just relentless about it. When other people like DC and stuff, Jon Jones, but Izzy is way better. I mean, he puts
so much better.
He puts Jon Jones to shame. The shit talk. Izzy is on another level.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love him so much.
And see, that's why again, this fight is so interesting, and this is the fight that we absolutely have to see, man. We just do. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, it just needs to happen now. I think if it doesn't happen now, it's not happening. Yeah, I just don't see Izzy moving up to heavyweight for this fight.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I mean, I'm not saying he can't. He definitely can. And we just saw tonight a heavyweight got a first-round KO, and he was 220 pounds.
Which is pretty damn impressive.
Impressive as fuck, especially when you got guys like Big Ben that are cutting weight to 265. Jesus. So super impressive.